Joe Biden in Europe, takeaway from G7, NATO, and Geneva summit with Vladimir Putin. Joe Biden's 8-day three-country foreign trip demonstrated his emphasis on personal relationship above all. There is no substitute for face-to-face dialogue between leaders, none, Biden said. President Joe Biden first overseas trip put his diplomatic and negotiating philosophy on display as he rallied traditional US Democratic allies to confront new and old challenges and often rosy take on possibilities of cooperation with Russian President Vladimir Putin after a one-on-one summit. Here are some key takeaways. A reset that they didn't call a reset. Biden and Putin did not use the word reset to describe the state of relations between the two nations after the summit in Switzerland. But that's what the meeting amounted to, with both men stalking out clear areas of disagreement, even as they pointed to smaller scale areas where they could cooperate. They conveyed both a mutual respect and a mutual skepticism. It was an abrupt return to more conventional US Russia framing after the presidency of Donald Trump, who often seemed to elevate Putin and create at least the aspiration that the countries could be more like partners. This time, each leader left with the understanding that some of the old rules still apply. Russia returns to its place as a worthy adversary, as Biden put it, rather than some kind of colleague, and the longer standing tensions over cyber warfare and human rights remain. The art of the face. After their 3-hour meeting, Biden's sunny disposition stood in sharp contrast to the more sober, taciturn tone of Putin, who at times became defensive when asked questions by reporters about human rights violations in Russia and the country's invasion of Ukraine. Even so, Biden acknowledged his optimism was more wishful thinking than reality. I am going to drive you all crazy because I know you want me to always put a negative thrust on things, particularly in public, he said, shortly before boarding Air Force One, adding that way you guarantee nothing happens. It highlighted the president's negotiating style, whether it be with Putin or with Senate Republicans at home or infrastructure, in which he publicly expresses his belief that a deal can be struck despite often overwhelming odds. I know we make foreign policy out to be this great skill that somehow is short of like a secret code, Biden said. All foreign policy is a logical extension of personal relationship. It's the way human nature functions. He later added there's a value to being realistic and to be put to an optimistic front and optimistic face. Biden's 8-day three-country foreign trip demonstrated his emphasis on personal relationship above all. There is no substitute, as those of who have covered me for a while know, for face-to-face dialogue between leaders. None, Biden said, declaring his summit with Putin a success simply for the fact they spoke in person. Throughout his trip, most of Biden's meetings were conducted in private, without cameras or with only few moments open to media. It highlighted Biden's faith in intangible personal ties that can drive policy outcomes both foreign and domestic. And it marked a clear departure in style from Trump, whose freewheeling public meetings with global leaders became something of legend on the international stage. Relationships tended to flow one way, with obsequious public displays by heads of state and government trying to get on Trump's good side. Biden is banking that those leaders will welcome a return to the old school approach, with a little help from my friends. Before leaving Washington, Biden reasserted his view that democracies are in generational confrontation with autocratic governments and that US cannot hope to prevail if stands alone. With that in mind, he rallied American allies at the Group of Seven meeting of wealthy democracies and treaty partners at NATO before his sit down with Putin. The sequencing was as much strategy as it was symbolism, with the unified front posture with allies meant to bolster Biden's position regarding Russia. It also drove momentum behind the US ongoing showdown with China over trade, security, and health policy, as Biden secured tough language on China, both in G7 leaders' communique and from NATO countries in their joint statement. Mad, but don't call it a new Cold War. In the wake of a series of disruptive cyber attacks that have emanated from Russia, Biden pressed Putin to curtail criminal and state sponsored activity from his country by warning of American digital firepower and his willingness to deploy it, saying he gave Putin a list of 16 critical infrastructure sectors from the energy industry to water systems. Biden said the leaders agreed to task experts to work on specific understandings about what off limits in this new domain. Even as Biden said of Putin, I think that this last moment he wants now is a Cold War. The American president embraced the defining characteristics of that era, deterrence. Biden said he broached with Putin and his top advisors the possibility of cyber attack at taking down one of their oil pipelines and the devastating impact it could have on energy dependent economy. Biden said Putin was well aware that US has significant cyber capability. He doesn't know exactly what it is, but it's significant, and in fact they violate these basic norms and we will respond, he knows, in a cyber way. Domestic tensions cloud global talks. After 4 years of America First under Trump, Biden set out to show the world that America is back, but lingering domestic instability cast a long shadow overseas. Whether it be the last president's temperament and isolationist policies of the months of efforts to undermine the 2020 elections and the January 6 Capitol insurrection, the tumult of the last 4 years remains a fresh and raw memory for allies and adversaries alike. Biden's actions and public comments show the length to which he felt he needed to go to reassure allies that the US could be a credible leader on the world stage. Thank you.